Parks Authority meeting of October 26th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Member Smith?
Present.
Member Gill?
Present.
Member Wadsworth?
Present.
Member Sellers?
Present.
Member West?
Present.
President Stein?
Here.
Member Jordan?
Here.
Member Owens? Member Samuel? Let the record show 7 members are present.
Matt Owen did text me, let me know that he's involved in a rescue at a park somewhere, Charlestown State Park, and that he probably wouldn't be able to make it here.
And Nathan's at a funeral, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Nathan also let us know that he was going to be out of town for a funeral. With that, approval of the agenda.
Motion approved. Second. Darn, I
Under new business B, take off the World Athletic Sound System. We can do that in the next meeting. The director's report, number 1, Sandy could not make it tonight. Number 2, Matt Gullo didn't have any new information early, so we'll take him off.
Meeting looks like it's going faster and faster.
Keep going. Yeah.
Motion to approve with changes.
Second.
Have motion and second to approve the agenda with those changes. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Approval of minutes for September 28th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
I'm
minutes.
abstaining, I wasn't here.
Okay. Approval of claims.
I'd like to make a comment on claims under River Stage on page 2. David Simpson, it says City Partners Fee, Kelly Services. Kelly Services is the company who made the donation to cash.
Oh,
It
gotcha.
had nothing to do with going through Kelly Services.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
apologize for getting that
I
wrong.
was trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
Will that be an in-kind or a pit
or
or?
it's cash.
Okay, I gotcha. Good deal. Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, first up, motion passes. First up, old business, city partnership.
Pass this out. Sorry this didn't get in your packet, but I was waiting for the accounts to try to look this over. This is what we talked about at the previous meeting regarding the commission on the in-kind sponsorship donations that Mr. Simpson is doing for us on the contract agreement.
And we did have a small group meeting to go over this. I'm trying to think, Ms. Gill was there, Ms. Sellers was there,
No, I
Oh,
wasn't
it was
there.
just me, you, and Nathan.
and Nathan, okay.
And then,
Remember,
As well as our
and
attorney.
Steve was there, yes.
Steve was there. Oh.
So sorry, bud.
Stepchild again. So it was Steve, Nathan, and Connie?
but if you remember,
No.
prior to the small meeting,
Yes.
when we were approving the claims subject to the contract, but there was a decision at the public meeting that we would do the 10%.
Right.
Subject to, by Indiana law, we'd have to actually have an amendment approved on the record at a public meeting. So anyway, basically what we're doing, the compensation section of the original independent contract agreement, and just to let you know, the original agreement was approved back on February 2nd, 2005, excuse me, February 2nd, 2015. So anyway, what we're going to do is add the following paragraph, which is set forth in this amendment. Let you read it, but I'll go ahead and read it on the record. The contractor shall also receive a 10% commission on the actual and certified value of in-kind sponsorship donations. The submitted claim for the commission on the in-kind sponsorship donations shall contain proper supporting documentation and certification of the actual value of sponsorship donation pursuant to the rules and regulations as set forth by the Indiana State Board of Accounts. The submitted claim shall first be reviewed and approved by the Director of the City Parks Department, and then shall be subject to the review and the approval of the City Parks Authority and the City Common Council pursuant to the requirements as set forth by Indiana law. And all other terms and provisions of the said agreement shall remain in full force and effect. So that language there kind of covers us, and because the key is, as we talked about the small meeting, you have to have the proper supporting documentation, to justify the actual value of that claim. And we just have the general language pursuant to the rules and regulations set forth by the Indiana State Board of Accounts, because from time to time, Indiana State Board of Accounts may change their rules and regulations and their directives on reviewing claims, so you have that general language. So whenever there's an update on what the State Board of Accounts says we have to do something, it's very clear we're going to follow State Board of Account rules. And of course, it's just subject, any claim is subject to the approval of both the Parks Authority and City Council. That's a standard Indiana law provision. So basically, that will cover, if this amendment is approved tonight, I know there's some pending claims for Mr. Simpson, for permission that he submitted. But if his contract is formally amended on the record, then we would be able to pay those outstanding claims.
And when those claims are submitted, there is documentation that's attached to that claim, so you can get the detail of what those in-kind donations were.
Yeah. And technically, that's a general requirement for any claim, actually. That's actually part of our general claims ordinance that State Board of Accounts requires. You always have to have that supporting documentation for any claim submitted, not just these type of claims. So just to let you know, this is not anything new that we're doing, just to let everybody know. This is standard State Board rule accounts.
And in the past, those the detailed sheet was getting separated before it was submitted to the Finance Department. That has been corrected, so those detailed sheets will be carried forward to the Finance Department. So we should be, up to speed and following all the rules as far as the detail.
Amy called me on Friday and said she also had a meeting with the finance. I mean, Chad knows everything. I guess I don't know who all was in that meeting, but she said that finance they're clear on what is needed to process those claims.
Okay. Scott, in the context of the entire contract, the contractor is responsible for actually researching and becoming familiar with the ISBA regulations and rules. Is that so?
Well, I mean, there's no specific thing that he's become familiar with those rules. I mean, because his job is to acquire sponsorship. But we've talked to him, it's in the contract, about the supporting documentation. I mean, he's not expected to know every rule of Indian State accounts.
Okay.
Other than submitting the proper documentation.
No, what I'm getting at is whose responsibility is it to ensure compliance?
Well,
Us.
us. Yeah,
Okay.
as the body, that's standard Indiana law for any claim.
Okay.
I mean, you may have department heads that submit claims and screen claims, but the final body that actually approves claims is the fiscal body for any municipality or county or state government. So it's always the fiscal body to screen claims pursuant to what the law requires. And if there's something that's not there, that should be there, or questionable, the fiscal body always has the authority to pull and deny any
Right.
claim.
That's why Lisa and I go through the claims.
Yeah. So even though there's a duty and responsibility by department heads to screen claims, make sure they're accurate, the final say is always the fiscal body. So basically, if something's approved incorrectly, that's
We
why
get
we look at it so
brought
closely. Fiscal body is the body that gets written up by State Board of Accounts. So we're the ultimate decision maker on that.
Clear.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to go ahead and approve that amendment to the independent contract agreement with Dave Simpson for the city partnership. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And if we can have Ed sign, we only have one signature on there, as you see, just for the president. And we can get back to Paul, you'll make sure Dave signs it.
Yep.
And make sure we have a signed copy on record.
Okay, next up, director's report. And
One thing I have, and I'll state real quick, is tonight we have the Halloween event in downtown Jeff. Starts at 6 o'clock. It ends at 8 o'clock. Council has a table set up down there. It's near the playground, so if you can make it down there, we'd love to have you. Any questions?
Wow, that was quick, Paul.
Anything else?
Plenty of candy,
I have
plenty
a
of candy.
quick question.
Sure.
I thought this was going to be on the agenda for night, the ice rink rental agreement. It's not on the agenda. I've reviewed that.
Oh,
I don't know if it was supposed to be on the agenda for tonight or November. Because it has like basically the first payment is payable November 27th, so I don't know if
I may have missed that. I didn't sit in my notes for the meeting tonight, but if,
okay, she had emailed that to me. I thought it was emailed to me in preparation of tonight's meeting. I've reviewed the agreement.
okay,
I didn't bring extra copies, and somehow I thought that was going to be in the packet.
okay.
I thought we agreed to it pending him approving it.
I think,
If he
yeah,
approves
we
it, then we're good.
approved
That sounds
it
right.
I couldn't remember if it was up tonight.
Yeah.
I've reviewed it.
And you're good with it?
Yeah, I'm good with it. It has the appropriate insurance
Okay.
provisions, and specifically the requirement, which I think we have this year to year, that the people that are actually skating, there's a waiver consent agreement that kind of waives any liability for the city.
Right.
But that's the key that I always say, we got to make sure it's in here. but we got to make sure that those waiver forms are signed by each person that's out there skating. Each child's got to be signed by a parent.
Right,
So I'm good with that.
okay. Do you need a signature, or is it
Well,
signed
yeah.
off on?
Actually, yeah, we would need the signature of Ed as the president, so.
Did we
But I
already,
couldn't remember, but
Did
just in case we missed the vote, I'd like to be clear, can we go ahead and vote to authorize Ed to sign that signature based upon my review?
I'll make a motion, allow Ed to sign the ice rink agreement.
Second.
A motion second to approve the ice skate rental agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
And then we just-
To make motions now. President Council.
If you're going around the table, I'll just stay up here. If anybody has any questions, I'll be here in front of the microphone.
Well, okay. Parks Authority Attorney Report,
I have nothing for tonight.
public comment, anybody sign up?
No signatures.
Everybody's done it, so.
Richard has nothing
It'd
to
have to
say.
be Richard.
Richard, you gonna say anything? No, okay. Mr. Smith?
I guess it's to the council or to Paul. At what point, I mean, I know you go to Board of Works, and I would assume there's been discussions on the actual maintenance, continuative maintenance of the Big Four, Duffy's, the Marina, whatever. Do you know if and when this board will be notified, or what are the plans? Because, you know, there's a lot of thought that's going to have to be
I
put
agree.
into it.
I agree. And nobody's approached me yet at all. I keep hearing that it's coming to us, the Big Four and the Marina, but nobody said, hey, we need to talk about it. So I guess maybe I should start the conversation with redevelopment. I mean, would you like me to go to the next redevelopment meeting? Would that be
I think at some point the board, and for example, I think we asked a little bit about the contract for the Big Four lawn service. And I think we may be responsible to fulfill the other 2 years, I'm not sure.
oh, really? Okay, I'm not aware of that
It
either.
all
depends on.
yeah, but I'm just,
There's no out provision, and it doesn't identify what source of
well,
funds.
okay, but,
Mr. Merkley did say there was an out
Yeah, I've
provision.
not seen it, so
Well,
hopefully there is.
But my thing is, it's going to have to come to us by law, so it doesn't matter because
Parks Authority, they have to come to funding for the city council.
we've already made the funding for it.
Yeah.
Did we do it under Parks or City Council? Do you remember?
It's $250,000.
Yeah, and redevelopment can continue to pay it, but just not with TIF dollars. They do have an operating
Right.
fund of
okay,
about $1 million.
okay, but you've answered my question. When will that happen? Because if it does happen, okay, ultimately, if there's problems, concerns, damage, repair, anything at Big Four, it'll have to come to the Parks Board.
Well, not necessarily, because at this point in time, the deed, the land is still in the name of the redevelopment commission.
Yeah.
I mean, my recommendation, if it's going to be a Parks Authority expense, there needs to be a legal transfer of a deed, transferring that land to the Parks Authority.
So then,
And complying with
I believe you
law.
said we could deny payment as long as it's in their name. They just have to take it out of their operating expenses.
Yeah, but the problem is they don't have operating expenses.
Well, but that's,
Yeah, they-
Well, then I think it falls back on the city council to fund that.
Well,
I mean, it's city property.
anyway, that's my question. I know there's no answer. There's a lot of questions out there.
Sure.
But for example, take the marina down there.
Mhm.
Okay, now, there's going to have to be an agreement or contract or something. There's no way the Parks Authority, your workers are going to be able to go down there
Right.
because every light that's down there and every pole that's down there is going to be a catch-all for debris. That's
Good,
just-
yes.
That's the long and short of it. So when the water goes up and comes down with it being brand new, we're going to want it clean, obviously.
Yes.
So, but I'm just saying, these are things that somebody, if it ever gets put in our lap, which is fine, I'd like to know, or I think we should know a little bit ahead of time so we can have discussions and prepare on how we're going to challenge it.
They are not making us aware of anything ahead of
Yeah.
time.
it might not happen
And they
while we're
never, and
here.
they never have, and I don't think they are going to.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up. And you may not know this, but the pump to pump the tanks out of the boats,
Mm-hmm.
is that designed to go underwater?
I don't know that either. I'm sorry. I was taken out of the whole marina equation.
Well, I know it's in a box, and it's protected from the elements.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing will go underwater multiple times a year, and I guess my only
When the water
question-
goes, yeah, sure.
Well, the only thing I'm saying is it's going to have to be disconnected and brought on dry land and remounted.
So I agree with you. I understand what
I
you're
know they
saying.
were silly, but I mean, realistically, that might be a $50,000 piece of equipment that if somebody don't do something,
What is it again, Mike?
It's-
Boat, you said boat.
It's a
It's
pump
not
out.
us.
Crapper pumper, you know,
Yeah.
pump.
You know, it's the pump
Again,
out.
it's not us.
All that is,
It's all of
continues
it.
to be redevelopment's responsibility.
Yeah, it's not
Okay,
ours.
well, I'm just asking because at some point I wish that, of course, it's almost crunch time, but that there was a discussion being had that we could say, look, guys, and, you know, we could work through the bumps, but
It's not going to
that's why I
happen.
thought I'd bring it to the attention, that's all.
Okay.
That's all, I've got a lot of questions, thank you.
Ms. Gill?
Paul,
No
when
answers.
Yes.
that going door-to-door situation was brought to my attention on North Silo Ridge, which is the joiners at the back end of Vissing Park, and they took me and showed me there's a clear path that's through there, and they said there's a lot of teenage kids that are going in and out of Vissing Park in the evening.
Is that at that little burial ground back there?
No, it's at the back end. I'll have to go through there and I'll get the address. I had it written down, but I left everything at home.
There are a couple access points into Vissing Park from that neighborhood there. One is at that funeral, or that burial site, but there's another one on the other side too, and there's another one even farther down. So, I mean, are you saying we should fence it off or block it off?
Well, when you look, I guess what the concern was, because when I was out there, it was on a Wednesday, and they said 2 Fridays prior to that, which I don't know the date and all, they did say that 4 of them went back there with baseball bats. I said, well, if there was any damage done, we do have cameras and all, but they said, you know, that the traffic has picked up here lately for some reason. And it's teenage kids that are just going in and out of in which I told them we're closed at dusk, so if you see anybody going back there, especially if they're going through your yard, call the police.
Right, but the question is, do we not want them to come through there? I mean,
I thought at dusk it was closed.
what's that?
She said it's after the park's closed.
Yeah, they're going
Right.
in and out after.
Well, and you
No,
made the
I
point that the
think,
cameras will pick them up, and we
I
can,
know
if
they're
there's any
calling for a
damage
lot of
done.
rain this week, but maybe one day we can go up there and look and see where they're coming out and see if there's something we
Sure.
can do, or if not, they want to know if there's something they can do at their end.
I guess on their property, if they want to put a fence up there to block that entrance, they
They're
could.
trying to say it's on our property, so I don't know where the line is.
But, I mean, if we're going to build a fence around the whole park, is that what we're saying? Because there is walking paths to get into the park, but they can walk through trees to get through the park too. So there's more than one, I mean, there's 3 official walking paths, but there are multiple access points in that park. So do we lock the whole park down? I don't know the answer, but you did mention we do have cameras, so if anything is damaged, we can pick it up and go from there.
Maybe we need, if you block these 3 paths, they're going to make 3 more.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to maybe put up signage at them paths, just, you know, where they can't get them, just to note, just, hey, let you know this is being monitored by cameras, or you're on camera or something.
Or something like park is closed at dusk, and like you mentioned, the cameras, maybe put
Or
signs at those
notify
points.
security pros, because I thought we had that system that if somebody comes in that barrier, it triggers, you get an alert, or they get an alert, and they can say, hey, you teenagers carrying the baseball
I
bat.
keep
Right.
thinking we're paying for that, but we were supposed to be, but I've never heard of them being used.
Yeah. All right, I'll check into that.
Thank you, that's all I had.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Nothing at this time.
Ms. Sellers?
Nope.
Mr. Webb?
Only thing I want to bring up about that marina, and you're the only ones guaranteed to be here next year.
Make a note.
I would probably put a sign on there, closed for winter, because you're going to have several floods tearing that thing up, the marina. And so I would maybe just start working on that maybe 2 or 3 weeks before thunder to have it looking good. Because you get a flood in January and everybody's on you. Well, you all need to get that, you'll take care of it. You'll spend the money. Well, then another flood in February, another flood in March, another flood in April. You're just spending your money.
We had a flood in July this year.
Yes.
I
We
mean,
can make
and
that
it brought in,
recommendation to
Or we
redevelopment.
could possibly, I mean, this rain died out. If this hurricane would have strengthened up, but I would
Because again, that's
basically
not
put a
us.
sign, closed for winter. That way, when you get calls, and you're getting harassed, well, why don't the parks clean that up? Say, well, it's closed for winter. We're going to clean it up 2-3 weeks before.
That's a good idea.
So
Because
I
you're
just
exactly
want-
where people would be calling and complaining
I
about.
figured I'd tell you because none of us might be around.
Okay.
that's not
Who has a
very
scared
optimistic.
thought?
Is that all you got?
That's all I got. It's on
Mr.
you.
Julius?
Enough?
He covered a lot. Hey, I got an email about a sign over the marina area. It says Fisherman's Wharf or something.
Uh-huh.
How did we come up with that name?
I had nothing to do with it. I thought the same thing. I'm sorry, I don't know who made that decision.
But I mean, I thought we had
We
an
did.
ordinance about naming.
There's a saying on the
The
back
board
of
is
it,
named
too.
Parks, that's not
What's the
parks.
saying?
Something about for the people, something people, George Hughes.
On the back side of it, yeah, it has some quote from George Hughes, I guess, and on the front, it just says Fisherman's
We'll
Wharf.
have a sign ordinance
Well, that's
and
what-
planning zoning ordinances that,
Should that have gone to planning and zoning? I don't know.
absolutely.
Well, even though we're the city, we're still subject to our own.
Fine.
In fact,
Yeah, we've
In
been
fact-
through that before, too.
No, I mean, it's-
Yeah, but they also
the law is,
Mhm.
That's John's day.
the city itself is subject to zoning.
Yeah, I do, I was here.
Yeah, the sign was designed and ordered by redevelopment, if that answers your question.
So you got,
That's it.
all right, I have a couple things. The netting being built on the turf field.
Yes.
It's on schedule. They're working on it right now. They've turned some of the turf up, and they're drilling holes in, I guess. I
Mhm.
don't know, is there any quick update? I see Paul.
Other than December 11th is the...
They're still drilling?
They just pulled the turf back, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, they
did
should,
put some netting up to keep people off of that area.
right, kind of a temporary barrier to keep people from going into it.
Yeah.
The December 11th is still the completion date. There's no change to that. If weather holds out, it could be sooner than that. But yeah, things are going good up there. We just aerated the fields. We just top dressed them. We just did a bunch of work out there to them, spent several $1,000s on getting the fields ready for next year.
All right, and then I got an email from Matt Gullo about the building at the Worley Fields, Worley Complex. He said that they're still finishing up the plans, and that the schedule for the bidding, the first advertisement will run Tuesday, November 10th. Second advertisement will run November 17th, and then bids will be open Friday, December 4th. Be coordinated with Paul Northam. So the bids could be awarded after the week of Monday, December 7th. So it's like so we won't have a chance to see what the costs and the final bids are until the first week of December. But, maybe we'll have a special meeting to go.
Well, they open the bids, they're not opening them at the parks. They'll open it at a special meeting with Paul.
It'll be through Paul, probably at the Parks office. But
Yeah.
we may have a special meeting, maybe before a city council meeting, to go ahead and approve the bids if we want to do that. I'd like for us to finish that, rather than trying to get new council people up to speed and all
Finish by
that
the end
stuff.
of the year.
Yeah, I want to try to get this all done by the end of the year.
Good idea.
And then one other thing, I saw, I got an email today, being invited to the dedication to the Wall of Champions, which I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
I heard a concept maybe 2 years ago that there was something like this, and I don't know if it's sports related, parks related. I'm not sure what a champion of the city is. I called Marty Shelpont because I thought maybe this is something that went through redevelopment. He said that redevelopment never voted for any kind of contract, paid any kind of contractors to build anything, and so he said that he was aware of a concept, and that there was money set aside to do something, but as far as he knows, redevelopment commission didn't vote on, approve anything, and he doesn't know what the criteria was to be a champion of the city.
Well, to answer the one
So I
question...
didn't know if you could fill some of these blanks.
Sure,
in.
I can. What I understood was that it was voted on by redevelopment, and $3,000 was set aside for the project. It was two years ago that it first started. Kelly Hoffman, Rick Lovin, and somebody else were involved in it, and then the mayor asked Clark Miles, Shane Corbin, and myself to take over this committee. Several suggestions were given to us on who should be on the Wall of Champions. It's not just sports related. People like Ned Fowl, Dale Oram, and
Was
then
there criteria?
loosely criteria. Yeah. I couldn't tell you exactly what the criteria is. It is just who we thought were champions, the
See,
three committee members.
I think before when we've set this up, it really, you need to have people from the public in on the thing, as well as, it shouldn't just be people from the city saying, oh, this is who we think, or this is,
Well,
Well,
one
let me-
time it was
Not
being
set up
paid for
right.
by sewer.
yeah, the sewer, yeah, where's it going to be?
It's already installed down at the foot of the walking bridge at Big Four, on that wall right next to the
Yeah,
Miss
it was
Carrico's
supposed to be on
home.
the sewer, you're right,
What I
on the
thought.
walls coming in.
That
Yeah.
was the
Off of
original.
10th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I know, but I mean, that's where the
That's where it
concept,
started.
Yeah, the sewer board never formally approved it.
So 16 have been ordered and have been installed. There are 14 more that are going to be ordered in a second phase, and then there's room for more. So I think the idea was, let's put up the 28 or so, and then after that, we'll take suggestions from other people, residents, council, whoever wants to suggest other champions.
Who's paying?
Redevelopment.
See,
Yeah, Parks is not paying.
I have major problems with the way this was done.
Yeah.
And how we move forward with this, because there is no set criteria. So any mayor that comes in could get his little board together and say, these are my champions. And it could be totally political, based on Republican, Democrat, my friends, my partners,
Who supported me.
yeah, who supported me and who didn't support me. Rather than having an independent body say, hey, you know what, let's set some criteria and recognize some people throughout the history of Jeffersonville. So I think that's totally wrong. And the other thing is, we have an art commission that we said, hey, when we do things like this, where you're going to set up artwork or memorials or statues or any kind of, anything like this, the art commission would be involved. And as far as I know, the art commission was not involved in this.
Dawn was involved, the commission wasn't. We asked Dawn to come in and take a look at the plaques, and she liked them, she stamped them, and then we had her come down this morning when we were installing them for the layout of it.
And now we're at a situation where if we want to reset and do it right, we have to deny these champions and take this down and say, you know what, let's start over and actually have criteria. And so, Ned Fowl, you're not a champion, I guess. We're going to take your name off and we're going to redo it.
Right.
I mean, the mayor's put us into a position where to do this thing right, you have to offend some people or embarrass some people. And I think that's totally wrong what the mayor did and the way this was done. I think the idea is a great idea, but the implementation's totally wrong. So. And I just want to let everybody know, I had no idea if it wasn't parks related, and I wasn't aware of how this was done. I know it was talked about. I didn't even know it was completed.
Well,
So.
we're also president and vice president of city council, and we didn't know anything about it.
Scott, question. So does this have to be paid for out of their operating budget or out of the TIF?
Well, it's not a maintenance project, it's a project.
That's a project?
Yeah, it's not a maintenance.
I thought we had approved it project.
Was it in their
I
budget?
thought we had to approve the project
There's no
too.
budget.
Didn't know budget.
All right. And I'm sorry you're the one saying this. Not
It's all
really
right.
directed at you, but I think it was really gone.
I understand. Thank you.
Amending the TIF plan, I mean, I don't think this was not part of the TIF plan.
I don't know.
I don't know, I mean, it's one thing like if you're developing property versus when you say a project, it's project to land. The Big Four project was approved, and what you do, all the little, the appurtenances, I'm trying to think of the legal term, the little additions to it isn't necessarily like, you don't approve every little, like water fountain or building that goes on.
The appurtenances?
Yeah, the appurtenances, yes. So I mean, that would probably be considered appurtenances. So in the law, we approve every one of those details of the project. I mean, we approve Big Four in the general project, not all the details of that. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very awkward if it becomes a park and I'm still here and I'm going to try to do it right and do a redo. It's going to be pretty embarrassing for some people. I don't know how that's going to work out, but
Good luck.
yeah. With that, I'll take a motion. Meeting adjourned.